This is Matt Jones here for Workforce Education 105. This is lesson 8. I've chosen to do my lesson on how to correctly install a bulkhead in a wall form. This, of course, is part of our formwork course for you third-year apprentices. And the unit is wall and column form construction. So basically, what we're going to do in this lesson is teach you how to correctly install a bulkhead within 1/8 of an inch of its desired location, its plumb. We're going to be evaluating you based on that accuracy, based on the appearance. Is it a nice tight joint? Is it consistent on the line that we scribe? And also, is it well nailed so that it's structurally sound and it can resist the pressures exerted against it from the concrete? So what I want to do is ask you guys, what is a bulkhead? What does it do? What do you think, Cooter?
Oh, isn't it a bulkhead like on a ship where they use it to like stop water or something to keep moving along?
That's not what we're talking about here, Cooter. In terms of wall and column form construction, a bulkhead, as far as I'm concerned, is something that controls and establishes a set length for a wall, resists the stresses of the concrete exerted against it, and it gives shape to a wall. So that being said, let's get started. I'm going to show you how I like to install a bulkhead. This is something I've learned over the years. It might not be the same way everyone else does it, but it makes my job easier, especially when I'm working with extra long bulkheads, which might be heavy, or bulkheads which are difficult to nail and hold at the same time. So it always starts with a little bit of layout. When I say layout, I'm talking about where the bulkhead is going to go. Clear identifying lines that show me where I'm to install this bulkhead to. Now, for the purpose of this assignment, we're going to be using this sample wall, which is much smaller than we would normally use for a wall form, but it serves the purpose that we're trying to get across. So let's assume that this wall is going to be 39.5 inches long. My first step, after establishing that the bulkhead I'm measuring off of is in the right location, and yes it is, I'm going to measure off of my known location exactly 39.5 inches. That is going to be the face of the concrete for this wall. Now, since this wall is no more than 4 feet long, I'm able to plumb my line from this mark using a simple 4-foot level. This will not always be the case, but for the purpose of this demonstration, it does the trick. So keeping my level on the line that I've already scribed, I'm looking at the bubble here. This is my plumb bubble, and it's telling me that I'm right on the money. That's a line that describes the face of the concrete. Now that I know what my layout is going to look like, I'm going to go ahead and make my life easy and start some nails. So follow me over to the table here. I've already started a few. As you can see, they're on an angle. There's a reason to that. I don't have room to get a nail going in square. That's just the reality. You're going to face the job site. So putting your nails no more than 16 inches apart for a wall this size should withstand the pressures just fine. Now I've got all my nails started. Let's go put this in place. Okay, so this is my line, 39.5 inches. It's plumb. We're going to keep a consistent line and start at the bottom always. Making sure not to nail it inside that line. I hold pressure against this bulkhead so it doesn't slide in. Nice. Now we'll work our way up, checking the line as we go. As you can see, nailing an angle is not the quickest thing, and this is why I started my nails beforehand. Now, before I go much further, I already know from experience, I'm not going to change the shape of this much by moving the top or the middle. So I'll double check my plumb, and I'm still well within that 1/8 that I'm looking for. So I'll go ahead and sink my last 2 nails. Now, visually, this is what you're looking for. A nice tight corner, which will get tighter as we close this form and crank these bolts tight. So visually, we've passed the test. Structurally, my nails are all within 16 inches of each other. For a wall this size, that's perfectly acceptable. And again, in terms of accuracy, it doesn't get much better than that. We're well within that 1/8 of an inch of tolerance. So do you guys feel comfortable trying this out for yourselves?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go over something here. Why did I double check? Why did I double check my plumb after I installed this? Yes,
Because you said if you nail on an angle, sometimes it can push the bulkhead out of place.
exactly. Exactly. One more question. Did anyone notice that I didn't drive these nail heads all the way in?
Oh, I learned that one the hard way, so you could pull your nails out, right?
Yes, sir. Now, we could be using duplex nails for this, but we used them all yesterday in a big concrete pour. So we used regular nails and left them out 1/4 of an inch. So when I need to remove them, it's quite easy. Simply hook onto the nail and pull it out. I don't need to be destroying my 2x4 by hammering a cat's paw into the 2x4 and splitting it into a million pieces. So I'll just quickly demonstrate how you can remove a bulkhead without damaging the wood. Just like that. Nothing sticking out, no safety hazards, and we're back to square one. Now, if I wanted to test you guys on it, it's as simple as me asking you to put the bulkhead somewhere different. Let's say 39 3/4 inches. So you would simply do this, but this time we're going to imagine that this is a wall tall enough that we can't simply use a 4-foot level. We'll have to use a laser plumb. So pretending this is 16 feet in the air, we are going to double check the plumb of this bulkhead, and it's good. Now, since it's good, which I checked with the laser plumb, I will simply measure over 39 3/4 inches here as well. And since this is longer than 4 feet, we're going to use a chalk line. Now that you've got a new line to install it to, you've effectively transferred the plumb line from the bottom to the top with a little piece of string with chalk on it. Does anyone have any questions about correct bulkhead installation? Okay.
Ready
I
to
think
try.
yeah, okay. I think it's time to move on to our, oh, yes, what is it?
How do you hold the concrete in when it's like that?
Okay, yes, that's a good question. So this lesson was simply how to install a bulkhead. We haven't closed this concrete form yet. When we go to close it, there will be another panel, the mirror image of this panel, which will go over top with pre-drilled holes, and we will insert these threaded rods. These are 1/2-inch threaded rods here with plates and nuts through the holes in the other form and we will pull the two forms together. These coil ties are going to be what keeps the thickness equal throughout, and the bulkheads as well on the ends are going to keep that thickness. So that's why it looks like the concrete would simply fall out this way. Everything goes in sequence with concrete formwork. You put up your opening wall, the rebar guys come in. They put in their rebar, you put in your bulkheads. You close the wall, and you pour it. Does that answer your question? Good. All right. I think it's time for you guys to try it yourselves.
Right on. We don't do this part.
That's it.